Okay, is everybody ready? We'll get started. We go okay, Bill? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia City Council Chambers. This is a regularly scheduled City Council meeting. Call this meeting to order. Today's date is Tuesday, February 24th, 2026, and the time is 5:30 p.m. Welcome to everybody who's in the audience today, and we have an agenda that we'll try to get through as expeditiously as we can. Jenny, will you please take the roll call?
Counselor Johnson?
Here.
Counselor Motley?
Here.
Counselor Paulson is absent. Counselor Beyondich?
Present.
Counselor Bachschneider?
Here.
Counselor Skalko?
Here.
Mayor Cuffey?
Present. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll move to item 4 on the agenda, which is the public forum. This is an opportunity for anyone from the audience that would like to address the council. I know I did get a call from the speaker that's just come to the podium asking for a little bit more time in regards for the presentation, so we'll give you some time to address the council. Please state your name for the record and welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Greg Lency. Earl and Andy Heisel, who are behind me, purchased the Northgate Plaza with the intention to renovate the property to a contemporary modern building. This renovation has been a tremendous improvement to the city and that local area up there. The building improvements have attracted businesses as well as facilities like the Learning Center and the Autism Center. An application for a retail cannabis dispensary is being considered by the city across the street from the Autism Center. This special needs facility has children between 4 and 17. They have indicated, the Autism Center has indicated that the facility will leave the Northgate Plaza if the cannabis dispensary is across the street. For them, I think it's a safety issue, not my words. It will have a negative financial effect on the Northgate Plaza and future business such as daycare, preschool, from ever using the Northgate Plaza. So in other words, the plaza is operating and functioning right now with these facilities in it. So if you put a restricted business like a cannabis dispensary across the street, that comes with laws and regulations with it. So in other words, if the dispensary was there first and Earl came and developed a shopping center, he couldn't put a daycare center in there. So the dispensary would have the consideration because they're first. In this case, Andy and Earl are there first. So the guidelines and recommendations, and that's what the state applies, for sensitive locations allow for 500 and 1,000-foot distances to safeguard vulnerable facilities. So what's considered a sensitive or vulnerable facility? Places frequented by minors, vulnerable populations such as parks, school, playgrounds, public housing, residential, preschool, treatment facilities is what they have there, place of worship, libraries, locations that provide care for children. These aren't my words. These are out of a Google search for what is considered a sensitive location, and you can put in cannabis related to anything you want to put in there, daycare, grocery store, residential, and it'll come back with all these recommendations. So local governments have to certify to the Office of Cannabis Management that the proposed business complies with local zoning, including setbacks and rules, before a license is issued. In this case, we're not issuing a license, we're issuing a location. The state-issued license is a micro business. This allows for on-site usage, yet our zoning B1 doesn't allow for that in that particular area. So it's our opinion and position that the cannabis business does not meet the city zoning requirements based on the actual micro business license that allows them to use on-site, where our location B1 doesn't allow that. But we go further than that. Also, under sensitive locations, setbacks, the 500 foot, the 1,000 feet, we feel that the setbacks don't comply with the guidelines and recommendations. I want to be clear, these aren't set in stone laws. These are guidelines and recommendations put forward by the state. And they state such as treatment facilities and residential housing. These are areas to be considered in the zoning ordinance because they don't want to disrupt residential areas or sensitive areas. So tonight, because of the serious impact this is going to have on the city, business owners, friends, neighbors, we would expect the full council to be available to weigh in on decisions like this. So my recommendation is that this gets tabled. I need a motion to table this, to forward it to another meeting when absolutely the full council is here to weigh in on this. And not only for the benefit of us, but for the people that are applying for the license too, so that we can sort through all discussion items that we have that are concerns. So I want to go back just for a second. If you approve this location for the cannabis retail, and it'll have an immediate effect on what Earl can do in the future and Andy. So in other words, if it's allowed there, the businesses that are in there, the Autism Center and the Learning Center may or may not stay. We don't know that. We can't predict that. But what we can predict is it will preclude them from any future use of that property for a daycare center, early childhood development, preschool, any of those things. And the reason that's important is because those buildings that he's using now for those are all designed and built for that. They're already pre-existing. In other words, he can't use that spot for a dentist lab. So at the North Star Drug, if you put a flower shop there, there's no problem because the flower shop doesn't bring regulations, laws, and restrictions with it. So it could go next to a residential. So in this case, the distributing and the sales of the cannabis brings laws and restrictions with it. And residential is a huge concern. I'm done. Residential, there's 24 houses within 500 feet of that building. The Rotary Apartments is 246 feet away from the back door of the cannabis building to the Rotary Apartments. So in all these suggestions and regulations, it specifically states public housing. HUD has documents on this. The Washington Manor is only 828 feet away. So that doesn't fall in the 1,000-foot category even. It's within the 1,000 feet. So now you have two public housing areas. The Autism Center and the Learning Center are literally 75 feet from the property line, the width of that street. So that's our position on this. Full council, I need a motion for that this shouldn't even be discussed any farther tonight until everybody can weigh in on that. And you have time to talk to legal, and we can all get back together if we have questions again about this at another meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lancy. Mr. Heisel? Mr. Heisel? Yep, thank you. Very good. Okay, any other individuals in the audience who'd like to address the council this evening? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to item 5 on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. The following items will be enacted by one motion unless a council or a citizen of the City of Virginia requests that the item be considered separately. Item 5.1 is the approval and correction of the minutes of the February 10th, 2026 council meeting, and 5.1b, the February 17th, 2026 special committee of the whole meeting. Item 5.2 is the adoption of Finance Resolution Number 26-004, the schedule of bills. Item 5.3 is to approve the following travel requests. First, for the library, Sophia Anderson to attend the Public Library Association Conference April 1 through the 3rd, 2026, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at a cost of $285.65. Item 5.3B, Police Department, Deputy Chief Chad Nicola, to attend the Emergency Vehicle Operations Center Training, March 12, 2026, in St. Cloud at a cost of $259. Item 5.3C, the newly promoted officer to the rank of Detective John Swenson to attend the First Witness Child Forensic Interviewing Training, May 18th through the 22nd, 2026, in Duluth at a cost of $1,300. And on my item .53D, Dan Nyland, police officer, to attend the Minnesota Juvenile Officers Association Annual Conference from June 15th through the 17th, 2026, in Duluth, Minnesota, at a cost of $300. And finally, item 5.4, approve the application for exempt permit for the Holy Spirit Church to hold a raffle on April 24th, 2026. These are the consent agenda items before the council this evening, looking for council action.
I will move the consent agenda as presented.
Councilor Johnson moves to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there support?
Support for discussion.
Support by Councilor Bachschnider for discussion. For the discussion, Councilor Bachschnider.
Thank you. I just want to discuss 5.1B. There's no need to pull it. I just wanted to put out there that I recognize this is an accurate reflection for the minutes that were taken at the meeting, but in my research in the past week since the meeting has taken place, it has come to my attention that the first motion that this meeting minute reflects that reads, moved by Councilor Bachschnider, supported by Councilor Beyondich, to approve the transfer of funds from 360 and Fund 460 to Fund 472 in the amount of $2.8 million and $476,000. Motion carried. That cannot take place. So to level set a little bit, Fund 360 is the 2020 GO sales tax revenue bond. Fund 363 is the 2020 GO sales tax revenue bond. Fund 460 is the MEC Building Project Fund, and Fund 472 is the newly created Event Center Capital Fund, which was established to act as a savings account to put money into each year. So when capital expenses come up in the years to come, we have a savings account to work with to make purchases. The sales tax revenue has been placed in that fund, the newly created fund, which was then realized by the council at the February 17th, 2026 Special Committee of the Whole meeting. Permanent transfers cannot take place like this without a resolution on file with the council's approval. When the council realized that this permanent transfer took place, we made an effort to make it a legit transfer by approving it, which was that motion, which would then mean a formal resolution would still be created and presented to the council for that final approval. In my research in the last week on this subject, which is the City of Virginia local sales and use tax authorized beginning on 173.30, I have realized this is not an allowable use of a transfer. The funds in 360 and 363 have to be used to pay our bonds. According to the state, we have to use these funds based on what the taxpayers voted for to approve that 1% sales tax. And those allowable costs are to pay the cost of collecting and administering the tax and to finance the costs of renovation, reconstruction, expansion, and improvements to the Miners Memorial Recreation and Convention Center, including the engineering and construction costs associated bond issuance costs, and the tax imposed expires at the earlier of either 1, 20 years after the tax is first imposed, or 2, when the city council determines that the tax has received $30 million from this tax to fund the projects listed, plus an amount sufficient to pay the costs, including the interest costs related to the issuance of the bonds authorized. Any funds remaining after payment of the allowed costs due to timing of the termination shall be placed in the city's general fund. So Britt and Brian and other staff, my understanding is that once these minutes are approved at tonight's meeting, then action would then be taken by staff to prepare the resolutions and the data as directed from that meeting. I am comfortable approving the minutes as presented because that was the discussion that we had and the direction we were taking a week ago. So would it be recommended that during council reports that I would make a new motion to staff to essentially eliminate that motion that we've created thus far?
Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Mayor. So, Council, there's a couple ways to do it. One way, because I know the city has reached out to me to review some things and has also reached out to bond counsel for review. So two courses that could occur. You could make a motion at a later point during reports or wherever to rescind a previous motion or to undo a thing done. The second thing you could do is you could make a clarifying motion to direct that any resolution that's prepared and returned to the council could be returned with authority for the transfers that are to be undertaken. And if those authorities don't match or don't meet the muster that the council expects, then you could just vote down that resolution and it would have a similar effect.
Counselor Bachschnider?
Thank you. And that's helpful to know. I do believe that within the special committee of the whole minutes, there would be other motions that were already made and passed that would meet that option 2 that you gave. So we have some essentially data requests in that special committee of the whole to get us the information that we were requesting. And then the final 2 motions that were made at that special committee of the whole meeting read as follows. So the first one is moved by Councillor Paulson, supported by Councillor Bachschnider to direct staff to create a 4M investment account for the sales tax revenue funds and to set up the account in Fund 360, motion carried. And moved by Councillor Bachschnider, supported by Councillor Paulson to direct city staff to transfer the sales tax revenue proceeds by resolution on a monthly basis to the 4M investment account, motion carried. So I think that option B is covered within those 2 motions. And so I think at this point, it would just be to rescind the very first motion that was made. And those 2 motions were made to reassure us and the taxpayers that we are doing what we're saying we're doing with that 1% sales tax. So I do want to reassure everyone listening that that was the goal of those final 2 motions. So knowing that final piece, does it make sense to do option 1, which would be to rescind the previous motion?
Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Mayor. I think that may make sense. I think ultimately, from a legal perspective, the way that I would suggest is that if there's funds that need to be transferred, that we return a formal resolution that cites the authority within the resolution, which will provide cover both for the staff and for the council from a legal sense. And I know I will work with Britt, and Ms. Thibodeau, our bond counsel, will also work with Britt to make sure that those authorities are cited and that all of the appropriate I's are dotted and T's are crossed to make sure that the sales tax is being administered properly.
Counselor Bachschnider?
Thank you, and I appreciate that. I just want the record to reflect that there was never a resolution on file for this transfer that did take place. And so are you suggesting that we make a resolution to undo a transfer that already took place? Or would there just be no need for any resolution if the funds go back to where they say they were?
Mr. Lindsay?
We could just return the funds to where they were.
Okay, so then knowing that we can return the funds to where they were, I think that the option, or just letting everyone know, the option that I will take, and I'll do it during council report so we can get through the remainder of this meeting, is to rescind the previous motion, which would be to approve the transfer of funds from 360 and Fund 460 to Fund 472 in the amount of $2.8 million and $476,000, because that happened without our approval already. So we were trying to make it our approval, but in the last week, my research has said we can't do this actually. So now we want it to go back. So we'll just rescind that motion entirely. And the purpose of rescinding is that then nobody has to make a resolution. The work just doesn't have to be done. We can just rescind it. Okay. Perfect. I have no additional questions. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Counselor Bachschnider. So it has been moved and supported for item, for the consent agenda at this point in time. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Motley.
Counselor Bachschnider, thank you for explaining that and clarifying a few things. I have lost sleep over the last week over last Tuesday's meeting, so thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. So it has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? A motion carries. Counselor Bachschnider, we can certainly make that motion now prior to item number 6.
Happy to do so. Thank you, Mayor. I would move to rescind the previous motion that was made at the February 17th, 2026 Special Committee of the Whole meeting that reads, moved by Counselor Bachschnider, supported by Counselor Beyondich, to approve the transfer of funds from Fund 360 and Fund 460 to Fund 472 in the amount of $2.8 million and $476,000.
Okay. A motion by Counselor Bachschnider, supported by Counselor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Johnson?
Thank you. So have we heard back from our bond counsel on this issue?
Britt or Brian, is there additional conversation going to be taking place with Thibodeau's firm?
Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
We have heard back, and I understand that there is good conversation. There's some technical things to clean up, but we're well on the way to get everything taken care of.
All right, then I will support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Johnson. Legal? Counselor Bachschnider?
Thank you. I do think, I'm just thinking this through right now, I do think that we should have a resolution of some kind, even if it's the transfer back. So can I please amend the motion to include an unwritten resolution in that as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
And the support for that amendment
Support.
by Counselor Motley. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Counselor Bachschnider. We'll move to item 6 on the agenda, which is appearances. Wait a minute now. We have to approve the entire consent agenda. Is that correct? We did? Okay, thank you. So item 6, appearances. There's no one scheduled to appear before the council today. We'll move to item 7, which is unfinished business. We do not have any unfinished business tonight. We'll move to item 8, discussion items. Item 8.1 is adopt a resolution approving the hire of a community resource officer for the Virginia Police Department. Our previous community resource officer who vacated that position and took a promotion to the rank of detective needs to be replaced, and there's no additional staffing for that. They're just approving an active employee currently employed as a police officer.
If I may.
Yes, would you
This
please?
is actually a student. This is a community service officer. We have the wrong.
I'm sorry, it's a community service
Service
officer.
officer, yes.
Well, it's not the community resource officer
Correct, it's
then.
community service
Okay,
officer.
that's different. So we'll change that under 8.1, change it from the community resource officer to the community
Services.
service officer, which is completely different. And that's a civilian, a student that serves the police department in on law enforcement required matters.
So move.
Move to approve by Counselor Bachschnider. Is there support? By Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion?
Here, just everybody's clarification that the agenda packet has page 44 has the correct information and the correct name and the correct resolution.
Okay, thank you. So the resolution is correct?
Correct.
And the agenda is changed to community service as opposed to community resource. So thank you. Okay, item 2, which is an addition to this, and it was brought to,
We didn't vote.
is motion?
Motion.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Item 8.2, this came from Counselor Johnson. He was looking for clarification on the decision-making process and the final approval of authority. I think in the last couple of meetings that we had, and we had our finance meeting, or that we met that monthly meeting, somehow or another, the last 2 had been moved to turned into a special meeting. And so I think we're looking for some clarification on that. And I would ask Counselor Johnson to, for any information he would like to provide. Counselor
Yes,
Johnson.
thank you, Mayor. My question is about the process. My understanding is that the process that we follow for all decisions is if it comes from the commission, it may or may not go to a subcommittee, then it goes to the committee of the whole, and then it comes to the final council meeting for final approval. And on the special committee of the whole meeting on December 26th at 6:30 PM, there was a motion made to implement a citywide hiring freeze for full-time essential roles. And I don't recall that coming to a council meeting for final approval. And I'm just curious to know, because it was brought up to the last council meeting in the evening about that. And since it wasn't approved at a council meeting, I'm curious to know why it was brought up as we are in a hiring freeze, because I would have had some opinions about a hiring freeze had it been discussed at an actual council meeting. So I'm confused as to what process we're following and when is a special committee of the whole or a committee of the whole the final stop for a decision, and when is the council meeting the final stop?
Yeah, thank you, Counselor Johnson. I'll refer to our legal, Mr. Lindsay, with respect to how it was posted. Mr. Lindsay.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Counselor, I'll try and answer the question because it involves a lot of pieces. So the ultimate answer, the quick and simple answer is it depends on how each council member or how each council meeting is noted and what its status is. And it also depends on the phrasing of the motion that's made. So there are places where councils cannot take action in closed sessions, in working sessions. If it's a regularly called meeting of the council, theoretically action could be taken. In the practice in the city of Virginia, as I understand it and have experienced it, is traditionally to move items from the committee of the whole to a final committee or a final council meeting on a Tuesday afternoon or a Tuesday evening. But there have been occasions where circumstances are such that a motion is made at the committee of the whole meeting where action is required to be taken because they are regularly posted meetings and because they're not designated as working sessions, meaning that no business can be transacted and only discussions can be had. Those decisions and those outcomes can carry the force of a passed resolution or a passed motion. And I said it depends on the phrasing of the motion. If the motion is to move an item ahead to the city council meeting, then obviously no decision can be made and no weight can be placed on that item except for the final resolution at the council meeting. But if a motion is to do a certain thing or to undertake an action by the city and it's passed in that manner, it can carry the weight of a passed motion, even though it's made at a committee of the whole, because those committee of the whole meetings are regularly noticed and scheduled meetings. Does that answer the question?
It does, but then it brings to the concern that this was a special committee of the whole at 6:30 PM, which is not a regularly scheduled committee of the whole meeting and not a regularly scheduled council meeting.
Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Mayor. The ultimate issue is whether it was duly called and noticed. So if you notice a special meeting, whether it's a committee of the whole or a straight council meeting, the same rules would apply. If it was noted as a special working session, then obviously no action can be taken and no votes may be passed.
Well, I appreciate that information, and then that begs the question, why are we having so many meetings if what we're doing at a committee of the whole meeting is enough to move an action forward? And since it's been passed, I will comment that I believe a city-wide arbitrary hiring freeze is so individuals do not have to take responsibility for making decisions on every hire in the city. I would also question exactly what a non-essential role is, as it is not defined, and I would like to see those things defined and put on our desks or in our emails so we can refer back to them so that we are making consistent decisions when it comes to city hiring. What I consider essential for the city of Virginia and what others may consider essential are probably different. And so, again, I feel this is a way to tell our administrative staff and our leadership staff that don't even think about asking for people because we don't want to make any decisions about it. And so I do not believe that this is a valid hiring freeze. And again, I think it is a way to not take responsibility on an individual basis for each person or each position that needs to be filled. Thank you for the clarification. I would like to see something in writing about defining these.
Thank you, Counselor Johnson. Further comment, Counselor Bachschnider.
Thank you. I didn't realize you turned your light off, Counselor Beyondich. First, I don't recall a 6:30 PM meeting. I believe this was a 7:30 AM meeting. Is that accurate when we made the hiring freeze? Was that a morning meeting? I don't have it in front of me, but I do not recall a 6:30 PM meeting.
Counselor Johnson?
It is, I'm looking at the minutes presented by Pam in an email from, where is it? On 2/12. Pam sent all of us the email about the hiring freeze because I had sent an email requesting information. And it was, I'm reading the title of the official minutes that were approved. Special Committee of the Whole Meeting, Tuesday, December 22nd, 2025 at 6:30 PM, Council Chambers, Virginia City Hall, 327 First Street, South Virginia, Minnesota. Present, Councilor Motley, Councilor Paulson, Councilor Beyondich, Bachschnider, Mayor Cuffey. I was absent as I had prior commitments, as that was not a regular council meeting evening. And it is the last item on the agenda that was moved and carried as the budget, and that meeting was adjourned at 9:40 PM.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I just don't recall an evening meeting, but I also have a sinus infection and I'm not feeling 100%, so I could be wrong. But I do recall the discussion at that meeting of essential versus non-essential. And when we asked our city administrator what would an essential employee be considered, we had police, fire, EMS, and snow plowing. That, and Britt, correct me if I'm wrong, that is what, and that's not just the city of Virginia, that is what state and city regulations require as essential employees. Is that correct, Britt?
Yes, we were talking about COVID regulations and what COVID was required as essential employees.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Counselor Bachschnider. Okay, any other further comments with respect to this? All right, thank you. We'll move to item number 9, committee reports. The committee of the whole meeting that was held on February 17th, 2026. Britt, did you want to take this? Okay, I will then. Thank you very much. 9.1, Committee of the Whole Meeting. That was held on February 17th, 2026. Item 9.1A is to adopt the resolution for the establishment of Municipal State Aid Street, that's Minnesota State Aid Street 231.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Beyondich and supported by
Support.
Counselor Bachschnider. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
Mayor.
I'm sorry.
I apologize if I could just jump in quick. I found the
Yep,
email,
yep,
Counselor Johnson, and I forgot it was back in December, so it wasn't even a meeting. I was just thinking back to January. So I apologize for my incorrect assumption. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Item 9.2B, adopt a resolution to apply for and accept funds from the State Office of Emergency Management Services.
So moved.
Support.
Moved to approve by Counselor Motley, supported by Counselor Bachschnider. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye, opposed, motion carries. 9.1C, review and approve the software purchase from T2 System Software for parking ticketing system for the police department. Their upgrade system.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support for discussion.
Counselor Bachschnider for discussion, further discussion. Counselor Bachschnider.
Thank you. So in reviewing this, and I apologize, I'm flipping to the page that I'm looking at. In our packet, it looks like it's labeled page 80 on the bottom. Year one will be charged right around that $3,000, so $2,988. I referred back to our finances from the special committee of the whole meeting on 2/17/2026, and I highlighted, and Britt, I'm not sure if you're able to assist with this. And now I can't find my highlights, but I'm not sure which one on the line item in expenses for parking monitor is included in this cost. Do you know? I'm just trying to figure out if it's a compro cost, if it's within the budget for this year. I'm still looking for what page that's on.
Please bear with us for a few moments. Megan would normally have that available for us, but she's not here this evening.
Or even if, as I'm looking for it, Britt, if you know the answer,
Yeah,
if
it's going
it's,
to be, I can tell you, I'm looking back at previous purchase orders from previous years, and the dollar amount we paid for previous years was 3408, so very close to what this contract is. It's coming out of line 101-41100-319.
so it's a comparable cost, and and it's within the budget for the year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Bachschnider. It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries. Item 9.1D, approve the updated memorandum of understanding with the International Association of Firefighters for the dual role firefighter EMT positions.
So moved.
A move to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Bachschnider. Is there any further discussion? Britt, this relates to the training aspect of it, right? To get the certification for the dual role paramedics, because of the different educational systems have their semesters at a different time. So it was to make an adjustment to allow for that. Okay? Did we vote on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9.1E, adopt a resolution to hire a dual-role firefighter paramedic.
So move.
Support.
Move to approve by Counselor Bachschnider and supported by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? This is a replacement for somebody that had left. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.1F, adopt the resolution to hire 2 candidates for dual-role firefighter EMTs.
So move.
Move to approve by Counselor Bachschnider, supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Beyondich.
Thank you. So how many are we still down? We don't have a full staff yet, do we?
We have with us Assistant, we have not us, we have the Fire Chief. Fred, ready?
Good evening, everybody. Yes, Counselor Beyondich. We are right now down 6, with the 7th coming soon, unfortunately. So this certainly helps.
You.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you all.
Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries. 9.1G, direct city staff to proceed with the development of an easement on city property for the Rough Grouse Society in order to access timber on the adjacent parcel.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Beyondich. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 9.1H, direct city staff to negotiate the sale of property and development agreement for the parcel known as 090-0010-15340 at market value. And for the public's information, where is this?
The vacant block in the 500 block of 4th Street.
Thank you. The vacant lot in the 500 block of 4th Street South. Okay.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson, supported by
Support.
Counselor Boxsnyder. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries. 9.1I, review and discuss the request for approval of a cannabis micro business retail endorsement registration for the retail operation for Patrick and Kelly Finnegan, doing business as Finnegan Farms LLC, located at 603 North 9th Street.
I will move the approval of the registration.
Councilor Johnson moves to approve the registration. Is there support?
Support for discussion.
Support by Councilor Boxsnyder for discussion. Further discussion? Councilor Boxsnyder.
Thank you. Attorney Lindsay, I'm curious if you have additional research from the last week. Last I recall, the conversation had left off of this question of, does this meet our planning requirements or not? And if you need additional time to research, I would be fine tabling this further, but I'm curious as to what you know.
Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Mayor. And I'd be happy to bring Ms. Bourbonnais in as well, as she's done kind of the on-the-ground research. Our ordinance does impose restrictions about establishment of cannabis businesses within a certain distance of certain established items. And the specific law isn't a mandatory prohibition by the city, it's a permissive, which means that we have some discretion in how we do it. The way that we've implemented it, we've described specific types of activity. So schools, daycares, those sorts of things. And definitionally, and I'll defer to Ms. Bourbonnais on this, definitionally, my understanding is the way that these facilities operate on the ground do not meet the definitions of schools or daycares because of licensure issues and because of the types of programming or the individuals that are served in those. And I'd also like to take just a brief opportunity here. I know that we had some public participation and Mr. Lindsay spoke on zoning and the way that zoning operates, and I just want to clarify some of that, just so that the council has all the correct information. So the way that a zoning would work, and Ms. Bourbonnais can correct me if she believes that I misstate this, the way that zoning works is if a use is established within a zone, it doesn't necessarily prohibit other uses from coming in after the fact. So I think the statement was made that if a cannabis business was authorized in this location, Mr. Heisel would not be permitted to bring in certain activities or certain businesses into his facility. That's not true. It may be a practical question. The practical question may be, would those types of businesses choose to locate there? But it's not a legal question because that use could always come in. The cannabis use would always be able to continue. The only way that it works is in the reverse. If there's a school that's within 1,000 feet of the cannabis business, you can't bring the cannabis business to the school. But you could, if a cannabis business was established, you can always bring the school to the cannabis because you're knowingly entering into that space and you're knowingly establishing there. And so it wouldn't prohibit future use at that business from a legal standpoint. And again, I'm not speaking on the practicality of it, but just the legal establishment of a business. It wouldn't prohibit those future uses from a legal standpoint. So, I mean, based on the fact that it's not a school that's operating out of that facility, it wouldn't meet the definition of our setback prohibition.
Okay, thank you. Jenny, any further comments or information?
No, Mayor, I concur with that. That's been the discussion in, looking at all the definitions and rules and regulations that I've come up with as well, and Pam as well, when we've been reviewing these definitions and uses that are allowed. So thank you for the clarification too on the prohibition and the way that works, because it is a little confusing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. Councilor Motley?
So a learning center is not considered a school.
Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you. And I can defer to Ms. Bourbonnais, but definitionally, the way that this learning center operates isn't consistent with the statutory definition of a school.
Mayor?
Jenny?
And just to add to that, when you look at the weeds of it, not into the weeds of the definitions, it's a program of a school. It's not an actual school. So the building itself is not a school, where in other instances, a school is located in a building that is a school, is identified with a either independent school district number or a private school, and that's an actual building that's owned by the district, whereas there's sometimes programming, like community programming of, for a college or something, would be a program, not necessarily a school. So by definition, it's not a school.
Thank you, Jenny. And I thank you. I understand where you guys are saying, but I don't agree with this location. And it concerns me when we have business owners who are taxpayers who have significant concerns. So we have to approve something at some point in some location, but as for me and this location, I will not be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Motley. Counselor Bachschnider?
Thank you. So I guess I have two clarification things. My first clarification thing is from a zoning perspective, both the city and state zoning requirements, is this legally permissible? Can we legally put this here? Yes or no? I want a maybe. Yes or no?
Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you. If it doesn't meet the definition of a school or a daycare, and it's not a park that's generally frequent, I believe that was one of our other restrictions, was a park generally frequented by youth, then it can legally exist there. The state requirements and the city requirements are slightly different. The city is not required to impose a restriction on schools and playgrounds and things. I think it's good that we did. But we're not required to. The state does have some mandates on some other types of cannabis businesses, medical manufacturing plants and things like that. This isn't one of those. And so I think the short answer is, based on the definitions, it appears that yes, it could locate here.
Yes, Counselor Bachschnider.
Thank you. I don't like yes, it could, right? Like I want a yes or no. And so if we feel like we need more time, like why is it it could? Like what additional research do we need to make this a yes or no?
Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Mayor. I shouldn't have added the it could afterwards.
Okay.
Legally, it's permissible.
Okay.
Is that?
Yes, that's what I'm looking for. Thank you. So then my second question would be, if the council was to vote no on this, can we just vote no, and is it done? Or do we legally have to have a public hearing in order to vote no on something if our zoning allows for it? I remember that being a conversation within the last week or two.
Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Mayor. So the public hearing portion of that language that was cited before, I believe it was section 6.11 from our ordinances, that relates to a specific class of regulated businesses, and I believe this ordinance falls outside of Chapter 6, and so it wouldn't be governed by that requirement. So the answer is a public hearing would not be required.
Thank you. My final thing that I'll say is I fully agree that I don't love this location, right? I truly don't. I think that we have better options. But in that same breath, I don't want to discourage people from expanding business in Virginia. And I think that's the key piece. So I do wonder if it would be beneficial to all of us if the individuals that are looking at opening this business could come and do a little presentation to assure the council, the neighborhood, and the community on what is their plan for traffic flow. It is a busy corner. Like, I recognize all of that. And I would feel better if we can get some additional information from them. Do we think that that's something that we could invite them to, either depending on their schedules, next committee of the whole or the next council meeting? Because as much as I want to support this business coming into town, I have many of the same concerns, primarily a traffic flow concern in that area and where the parking lot would be and things like that. But I don't want to deny any business opportunities within the city limits either.
Thank you. Counselor Beyondich?
So I've pondered this long and hard. I've had many conversations, and believe it or not with anybody in the audience. So they have not talked to me about it. These are other people that have come forward and spoke to me. I am concerned because Mr. Heisel has invested heavily in that plaza to support the tenants that he has, not replace them. So that is one of my main concerns. Business is good, but if it's going to drive out other business, that's also a big concern for me. I have heard from a lot of seniors in that area. I just am not supportive of it at this time. I have lots of concerns about the people that we are affecting. And in the past, we have done votes, and it's been a few years now, I believe, but Iron Trail Motors wanted to put a car wash in. The residents came and spoke to us, and we listened. So I'm hearing from residents, even though I purposely ignored Roger when he came in the meeting today, because it's like I don't want to have any conversation regarding who is sitting in the audience. This comes from people outside that have spoke to me personally about their concerns about what the traffic would be. So those are my concerns, that we have an established business owner that invested greatly in that whole area. And for me, I don't want to negate what he has built and the businesses that he has there to bring in one business that could potentially be located maybe in a different area. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Beyondich. Councilor Bachschnider?
Thank you. I just want to add a thank you to everyone who has reached out to me about this as well. I've gotten people on both sides that want people that are opposed to it and people that really want to see this type of business in Virginia. I would say probably a perfect 50-50 split on this, which is, I think, why I'm the most torn, because I'm really not getting one-sided feedback from residents. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor. Has this license been approved at the state level? It has, okay. And I was not here for the meeting because I have a job that does not allow me to come sometimes because it's a temporary part-time job. What I see here is a generational difference of opinion. There's a generation that was raised that any kind of cannabis use, weed, marijuana is going to be a gateway drug and it's going to lead you down a path of sin and exploitation and drug abuse and so on and so forth. And then there's a generation of individuals that have been allowed to do their own research, have sought out their own research, have used their own knowledge, and have also learned the ways to balance. This is very similar to alcohol. In the 30s, there was a prohibition of alcohol that nobody could drink it because of the same reasons. There seems to be this unspoken, and maybe it was spoken and just didn't make the minutes, that all of a sudden that corner on North Side is going to become a drug-infested hippie. Nobody's going to be able to do anything there. I remind folks that it used to be North Star Drug, which had plenty of traffic back in the day. So traffic to me is not a concern. There are not going to be people walking from all over the city to buy their drugs. They're not going to be lining up in front of the building to go get their, this is a boutique store. It is a very specific kind of cannabis distribution center. You're more likely to get those folks downtown Virginia where you can go in and buy your baggie of gummies for $20 and you're good to go. This is not that. This is a highly regulated, highly everything business opportunity in the city of Virginia. And I am very supportive of it. I have pretty much, I don't think I've heard from anybody that says this is a terrible idea, it's gonna ruin Northside. Most people either understand what it is or they're neutral about it. I think that we are opening ourselves up to some liability by denying something the state has already approved. I do not think it will affect property value. I do not, if anything, it will bring folks to the north side of town who have the money to spend in other places and will bring people into town from other areas, as do other major businesses. So I will be supporting this as I made the motion, and I think we need to welcome business into town. They've done their research. They know how that corner is going to work. We have to stop telling businesses how to run their businesses and allow them to succeed or fail on their own. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. You're going to have to bear with me because I've got a lot to say, so I apologize for going on a rant or speaking from an emotional perspective. But, well, first we'll go to Councillor Beyondich, and then I'll speak. Councillor Beyondich.
And respectfully, Councillor Johnson, two types of people, the young that are with it and know how to research, and the elderly who don't. I take offense to that. I fall on the latter of that. I do research. I will cast my vote on what I hear directly from the constituents who vote for me and come to me when they have an issue. So that is how I vote. The constituents came, they spoke, they told me what they wanted, and that's how I'll cast my vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Beyondich. Councillor Skelko.
Yeah, I talked to Patrick and Kelly today. So I would like, Steve, I agree with a lot of what you said there. They are very willing and wanting to. They've actually asked me to talk tonight to set up a time where they can come in either at the COW next week or the city council the following. So I would like to, at this time, just make a motion, and on your behalf as well, to make a motion to push this to either to invite the Finnegans to come into the council, discuss it, and do that either at the COW or the next city council meeting.
Okay. First of all, I would have liked to spoke first, but you've made the motion already, and the motion is, there's a motion on the floor support to vote on this. Now, if I understand you correctly, Councilor Skelko, you're making a motion to table and then invite the Finnegans to the communal meeting to make a presentation.
That is correct.
Okay, and you're seconding that, Councilor Bachschnider. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I'll reserve my comments for that meeting, so thank you very much. Okay. Anything else on that subject we can't talk about? So we've already tabled it to the next meeting. It's good. So what item 10 on the agenda, which is Commission Liaison Reports. Yes, Mr. Heisel, please come forward. Turn the light on to green, so we are recording this, so everybody in the audience can hear. Mr. Heisel?
Yes. Will that next meeting be a morning meeting? Okay.
Most
Mayor, if I
likely.
may.
Yes, Councilor Bachschnider.
My understanding, based on Councillor Skelko's motion, was to invite them to either next week or the following week. So we'll see when they're available, and then I'm sure that it would be in the packet for which one they end up coming to.
I think probably the evening meeting would be the better one.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Finnegan will be coming from Two Harbors, so what we'll do is we'll try to facilitate a meeting so that you can be present to hear this presentation, and we'll ask our staff to invite them to an evening meeting for the council, next council meeting or whatever, and then you make sure we notify you personally that when that meeting is going to be held.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If you're looking for additional information, want to be on the agenda to speak, you go through our city clerk, Pamela Bean, in which to do so. Thank you. Okay, any commission liaison reports you'd like to present today? I just want to let you know I met with Greg French, and I had a long conversation about the steam conversion, about the costs associated with the LEA, with the questions that Senator Farnsworth is asking and Representative Warwick about how we're moving forward. He did provide me some documentation that I'll distribute to the rest of the council in preparation, going down to the legislature to talk about the issue with respect to our request for $4 million, and I'll talk about this a little bit later on. But because it was part of the commission, I did talk to Greg French about that. He provides some really good information that it should educate and satisfy and the issues that our senators have moving forward. And so I might as well say it right now, then I could just move this forward. I did have a meeting with our lobbyist, Mike Jarek. He came up, and we sat down and talked about a variety of things, including that information I gave to him for our legislators that Greg French gave to us for our potential testimony down there. The indication that there's likely going to be a bonding bill. Looks like there's an appetite for that. And early on in this legislative session, of course, things could change. There could potentially be a tax bill as well. So we could address the tax issue with the Ontario Memorial Events Center there about if we pay it off early, can we use it in some other capacity? So those are things that are still moving forward. It's early on. And I'll also be taking a bus down to the legislature for the Rams meeting. Not going to cost the city any money. And we'll go down there and the legislative action day for the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities and some other things moving forward. So as the legislation moves forward, we'll keep everybody informed. I know that Councilor Boxner has already been down to the legislature on behalf of Essentia and at the state meeting for the Chamber of Commerce, correct? So that was good. Would you like to address that at all?
I'm happy to. Yes, I did go with Essentia Health and their policy team to the Minnesota Chamber legislative action event. I believe that was last week. It was a great event. We heard lots about rural communities at that event and impacts of the Big Beautiful Bill and what that will look like within local communities and local government. And so thank you to Essentia's policy team for inviting me with them to that. And then I do believe the Rams legislative day is on a regularly scheduled either committee of the whole or council meeting evening.
Yes.
And I was also interested in going, so I don't know if that's something that we would potentially look at changing one of our meeting fors, or if that would be allowed to change one of our meetings for. I do think it'd be a benefit for at least one of us, if not two or more, to attend. And it is nice that there is no cost to the city for us to go, as Rams provides that transportation.
And then Paul Pelletier will send a letter to our staff and to identify specifically when that's going to be, at what time, and to break down the opportunities for us. So thank you for that, Councilor Buck-Snyder.
Absolutely. I do recall that coming out. I just don't recall the date off the top of my head. I know I just looked at the calendar quick and said we had a meeting, and so was probably not going to go. But if that's something that we'd consider, I don't think it'd be a bad idea. I think it's important for us to be working with our legislators to advocate for our needs as often as possible, especially when an opportunity presents itself to do it at no cost to the city. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll be going down midweek too before that, so we can figure that out. Thank you for that. So I just want to, in a segue to this information from the legislature, I got this from sent by Mike Jarek, our lobbyist, that Senator Farnsworth has proffered Senate File Number 3728, which is the Virginia 6th Avenue reconstruction piece. The subdivision is the appropriation of $4 million from the bond proceeds to the Commission of Employment and Economic Development for a grant to the City of Virginia for the design and reconstruction of the 6th Avenue, including the relocation and upgrades of municipal water, sanitary sewer, and storm sewer management infrastructure to support redevelopment and of the decommissioned municipal steam plant site that's scheduled. And so then there'll be bond sales for that in that regard. So that's the Senate file. We're waiting for Representative Walworth or another representative to proffer a file from the House of Representatives as well. So we look forward to having that done. Councilor Bionich.
Is it a $4 million from, and then,
From the
but that's a
bond.
$10 million project, correct?
Yeah, we're asking for $4 million is what was in the bonding bill, right?
So you'd be putting the $6 million on the taxpayers, on the few people that live in that area?
Necessarily, because you have to remember that we don't assess for the water, the storm sewer, the sanitary sewer. Those are not assessed. Those are through fees.
So what would be assessed?
I'd have to take a look and see how it breaks down with that $4 million taken out.
And so the
We're not
purpose,
even close to discussion. That's not even we're not that close to even have that conversation quite yet.
yeah, and the money does not get allocated unless we have a plan moving forward. If we chose not to move over the plan, then the $4 million does not get allocated. We're not obligated to accept that and spend the $6 million. This is just in the early stages. We had asked this $4 million to the last 2 bonding bills, and because we didn't have a bonding bill, this is the time they have one. And whether we're going to be successful or not, there's only like $2.8 billion, and there's a lot more in the request for that. Councilor Beyondich.
Sorry, I'm dragging back through my memory bank. Did we receive and ask for dollars for the public safety building at one point? And did we receive?
We received bond money for the public safety building,
We had $11.5 million from the state for that.
11.5 million.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's move on to item number 11, department head reports. Department head, Britt, anything more to disseminate?
No, I don't think I have anything else, but thank you.
Thank you. Anything from legal, Mr. Lindsay? Nothing further. Thank you. Anything, Jenny, from you? Okay, thank you. Item 12, council reports. Councilor Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to point out that at the Committee of the Whole meeting, and I'm going to just read the minutes because I think it's important that folks know that there's an opportunity to get some information. Fire Chief Scott Frederickson provided a presentation regarding the city's insurance service office, ISO rating. He explained that the ISO is an independent evaluation and scoring system in which lower ratings result in reduced insurance premiums for residents and commercial properties. The city currently maintains an ISO of a rating of 3, which is very good. Chief Frederickson reviews the statistical information related to the ISO evaluation and the inability for the city to respond on a recent wildfire due to our equipment not being operational. Frederickson informed the city council that a wildland truck is available for purchase now, and he requested council consider the purchase of this wildland truck. That goes on to say Paulson expressed appreciation to the fire department and its continued efforts to maintaining the city's ISO. The information he provided was very good. It was a PowerPoint presentation, and I'll be requesting that, if possible, the staff pull that out of the YouTube video and create a short video that can be played on public access and put on our website, because it was a very good explanation and dispelled some of the misinformation that's been given about taxes and how our taxes and how an ISO does or does not affect insurance rates, especially for commercial buildings. So that would be my request, if we can, or if someone out there who's good at doing that could do that, I'd appreciate it. Again, the fire department is doing a phenomenal job. And as he said, the smiles around that building are absolutely amazing. The police department is in a similar boat. They really appreciate having modern facilities to be able to use and move forward. I just wanted to make sure if folks got that information at least twice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Johnson. Anyone else? Okay, then I have Councilor Motley.
Just one quick thing. I've actually thought this for years and I've never said it, and I should probably say it since I'm on the council, but, so I lived in Midway since 2010, and, random thought, I know we haven't had a ton of snow this year or the last few years, but I do really think that whoever plows in Midway since I've lived there does a great job. So, because I drive in other areas and other communities without mentioning their names, and I always feel like Midway looks the best, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know that Joy, you sent an email out to the crew of Public Works and for all the outstanding job. There've been a lot of compliments coming into the department about that, so thank you very much, Councilor Motley. I have one item, just to let everybody know that on the agenda used to be the animal control. We're still looking at ways in which to try to find another way in which to provide some kind of service, animal control service. We reached out to St. Louis County and Hibbing and elsewhere. So we are having a meeting with Hibbing, in their mayor's office, on Monday, March 2nd, 2026 at 10 o'clock to talk about the animal shelter and what kind of collaborative can come forward out of that. Now, the county has indicated that they're satisfied with the service they have now because they don't pay what we pay. And so they've got an agreement where they're going from there. So we're going to talk about it. Not saying that we're just going to find an alternative way in which to do so. And so stay tuned for that, and we'll come up with some additional information in that regard. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Is that a public meeting? Can the public attend?
I don't know. I'll find out. I don't think so. It's going to be in the mayor's office. We're just going to meet and confer to see if that's something that we want to move forward with. And then if something that we're agreeable in which to try to come to a collaborative, then we'll have a public meeting to talk about, the services and get some additional information, if that satisfies you or not.
I appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, that's all I have. Anything else the council has before you adjourn for this evening? Well, thank you very much for coming. We will adjourn our council meeting for our next council meeting, which is scheduled we'll adjourn to Tuesday, March 10th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. And then we'll also get the information about if we need to take a look at changing maybe look at the committee home meeting, changing the date for the council meeting of the committee home meeting so that we can maybe go to that legislature. So thank you for that, Councilor Boxleiter. So no other business to come before the council. We stand adjourned. Thank you. Good night.